RTL Football Podcast, now live on Twitch and on YouTube at 8 p.m. UK time on Thursdays.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello guys, we're back. It's been a while. Sorry about the not being here for a while. We've made a few changes. We've got a new team. Welcome to the new RTL Football Podcast. I hope you're going to love what we've got planned for the next few weeks. Next to me, we've got my new co-host, Gormy, coming from the Road to Legends draft side to join me on the podcast side. Welcome, mate. How are you?
Doing all right. Really looking forward to this.
Yes, we've got a lot of good plans for the future. We've got Crazy Boom. How are you, mate?
I am very good today.
And we've got Chris today. How are you?
I'm very good, very excited.
Yep.
They say the man behind the sexy voice in that intro.
Yeah, it's a very good Scottish voice. Did anyone guess who it was? We will keep you updated in the United game and the West Ham game at the bottom of the screen as well. And let's get into it. Starting off, we will go straight into the games. And first thing we have is Newcastle versus Brentford. So, Gormy, did you want to get us started on a 5-1 win for Newcastle? Brentford not turning up this time.
When we talk about Newcastle United now, we need to start giving them some respect and realize like this is what they are going to be capable of doing under Eddie Howe, especially when they start bringing in like big time players. When that's going to happen, none of us really know because right now they're going about their business super, super smart way. But I mean, I don't think any of us thought that a defensively minded ball winning midfielder like Bruno Guimaraes was going to be the goal scorer that he is for them right now. I mean, he looks absolutely phenomenal. The team is gelling. Eddie Howe is getting exactly what he wants out of them. Yeah. So I hope that it continues for a long time to come under Eddie Howe and they go about their business this way because when Man City got that influx of money, they kind of just splurged on everyone trying to win right away. I feel like Newcastle is kind of going about this the right way, the smart way, spending in a very smart manner. They're not going for superstars like originally when the takeover happened. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to have Mbappe next year. They're going to have Neymar and Mo Salah. And it's like, no, not going to happen. They've gone for the Sven Botmans of the world, the Bruno Guimaraes. Like they're going about it a very smart way.
The tortoise versus the hare kind of debate, slow and steady.
Yeah, exactly. Slow and steady wins the race.
They wanted James Maddison as well. They wanted James Maddison as well. They've been really smart on their signings, and it's a shame Isaac got injured so quickly because I think
he's going to be very good for them.
He's going to be a really good player.
I think bringing in Kieran Trippier, that's like the biggest name that they have brought in. Because
definitely.
of what he's done for the English national team and what he did for Atletico Madrid. So, I mean, having someone that understands where they want to go, that is one of the most perfect signings that you can make.
Definitely. And I think Brentford will be safe, but they just weren't up to Newcastle this weekend. I think they'll have a good season. I think they'll be about mid-table. I don't think anyone's predicting them to go down, but Newcastle just showed up on the day, and there were some cracking goals in there as well. So hopefully it continues with Newcastle. Do we think they can get top 4, top 6?
Top 6, definitely not top 4, and top 6 is even a reach. I would give them until next season, maybe a season longer to like solidify themselves as like a top 6 type team, because you're going to get that team that falls off for them to be considered a top 6 team. What club that is, I don't know. I pray it's not the one behind me on my wall. I pray it's not Liverpool, but I mean, right now, Liverpool is that odd man out. So hopefully things can turn around for us quickly. But I mean, Newcastle will knock someone off.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's just a matter of who.
I'm sure we'll get on to Liverpool in a bit, but I can't see them getting top 4 at the moment. Anyone else got anything to add on that game?
Not really.
And not really. It wasn't one that I was watching.
Yeah. So next we had Man City 4 versus Southampton. They continue in their goal-scoring antics against Southampton. And did you want to start us off on that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a tale of two teams, basically. Well, a team versus a goalkeeper, shall we say. Gavin Bazunu kept South the score down. It could have been double figures. Saves from Haaland, saves from Cancelo, etc. But Bazunu is a good goalkeeper. Unlucky with some of the goals, but Man City just keep on scoring goals, keep on scoring for fun.
Yeah, Haaland's machine, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
It
unbelievable.
shows how good Man City is when Gavin Bazunu pulls in a very good performance and still concedes 4.
Yeah. It's they're going to walk the league this season.
Although I will say, took Haaland 65 minutes to score, clearly a fraud.
Yep.
They never charged them up properly enough overnight, so yeah.
His brother's better. Yes. I think City are odds on for the title. I don't think anyone's going to challenge them this year. A lot of people are saying Arsenal.
No one. Arsenal's going to. Don't say no one.
I don't think they've got the depth.
I think they're challenging now, but there will come a point where I think they will fall off.
Yeah, it's like United a few years ago. Remember United under Solskjaer when in December we were we were top of the league going into December for 1 week, and everyone was saying we're going to win the league. No, we're not. We're not ready for that. And it's very similar.
I will say Arsenal are very much top 4, even top 3 at this point. Yeah, I would say top 3.
Definitely top 3.
The one thing I will say for it though is there's going to be a winter break that a lot of leagues have. The Premier League doesn't have, but they get it this time around because the World Cup is in the winter. So I honestly feel for the players that will not be going to the World Cup for Arsenal, you let them recharge. The players, once they get back from the World Cup, they'll get at least a week before they are expected to hit the ground running again. So these teams, they're going to get a breather. Man City's entire team is going to be at the World Cup.
I will give you that because Arsenal's Brazilians didn't get called up for the last Brazil squad. So the chances are they might not be called up for the World Cup. So
I don't think Martinelli will, but I think Jesus will.
Yeah,
Jesus will.
But Martinelli is a big player for them, so for him to be rested, beneficial for Arsenal.
Same with Gabriel in defense.
If Jesus gets injured, though, they're screwed.
Yes.
Yeah, Nketiah can't really.
And if Saliba gets injured, they're screwed. And if
let's just hope that doesn't
injured,
happen for them.
So I don't think they haven't got the depth.
The thing is, like Gummy says, the World Cup is coming around very, very quickly for every club in the Premier League that will lose players.
That could change because people could be injured in the World Cup and stuff. That could change the dynamics for a lot of teams.
Obviously, the transfer window is going to have a massive impact on possible Arsenal as well.
People are going to sign people based on the World Cup.
Yep.
And performances in it.
This is when you're going to see those players last time around, say the 2014 World Cup. No one thought Alexis Sanchez was going to get a massive move until the World Cup happened.
Yep. Yeah.
So you're going to see those odd players get big moves. And Bullions in chat, if you guys are listening through audio, we're live on Twitch. He's saying that Arsenal has good depth. I will give it to him that they do have depth. It's nothing like Man City's depth, though. Man City has 2 starting 11s and then some. So
Man City's B team can win the league.
Arteta is starting to assemble depth, but he's not quite at the depth yet.
Yeah, like he said, they need 2 players in. You get those 2 players, and you can challenge. They're going to have the money. They're going to have the players rested. So it's. I definitely think Arsenal could challenge Man City.
In January, if they could get someone like an Ivan Toney from Brentford, that'd be a sick signing.
If that happens, Brentford are going to struggle big time. I don't think that they would do that. They would not do that unless it's during the summer. And they could then plan for going forward. Brentford would not sell him during the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the kind of player they need. If they got someone like that in January, for example, or someone like that, just a second striker, I think that would make a massive difference, and maybe another centre-back and maybe another midfielder. I think that's what they need, to be fair.
I mean, there was the rumours during the summer before Jesus signed for Arsenal about Tammy Abraham coming back to the Premier League with Arsenal.
I'd love Tammy Abraham back in the Prem. I'd take me United.
I'd love Tammy Abraham to come back to Swansea City, but we all know that's not happening.
I don't think Swansea's going to have another 60 million kicking around somewhere.
Yes, so we will move on to our next game, and our next game is Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. And Boom, did you want to start us off and then go to Chris on this one?
Well, I was one of the people that predicted in the beginning Chelsea to struggle this season with the players that they lost and the minimal signing, and I was right in the beginning. But then they brought in Graham Potter, who's completely, you got to give him credit, he's completely changed that around at the moment to prove me wrong. Potter's him.
What an appointment. He's doing really well. I question the right club for the right manager, but I'm hoping to give him time.
And I saw that Gormy's the LeBron James of soccer scored. And he could have scored more from the highlights that I saw.
Yeah, I watched the game and I watched the kind of extended highlights from Saturday, and I have to give a special mention to Mason Mount, not scoring the goals, but the balls he's putting in for Lisa Havertz for the first goal, and the ball around the corner for Pulisic to score. He's creating them. He needs to start scoring them, in my opinion.
That's another one I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
I will talk about Wolves. Wolves are just a team without an identity at the moment. They're all over the place.
Yeah, it doesn't. You always knew what you were getting with Wolves the last few seasons, but this season it looks like they had that identity. What we all joked about, but it was a good identity of bringing the Portuguese players in, Portuguese coaches. But
they let Connor Cody go.
On
loan to Everton.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think of it, that is one of their so-called rivals this season for that kind of bottom half, and you're letting your club captain leave on a loan to Everton.
Yeah. Something they put a lot of faith, and I haven't seen this person has a lot of potential, but they put a bit too much faith in their new centre back Nathan Collins, the Irishman. He has a lot of potential, but to solely focus on him and then getting rid of your actual leader centre back Connor Cody, I just think there could have been a better transition between the two.
It doesn't help with Wolves as well. I mean, losing Jimenez has not been the same player since he came back from his injury. Losing Podence last weekend,
and now they have Neto injured.
Yeah, Neto as well. He's out injured. It doesn't help, and then you're playing your best midfielder in Ruben Neves as a centre back. I mean, what?
And with the managerial search as well, it doesn't look like they've got a plan as well, because they obviously
they went for Locatelli. They went for Locatelli, and he said no.
Yeah, and then they've also had talks with the guy who got sacked by Watford. I've heard good stuff before he went to Watford, and he was a promising coach. And did Watford ruin you? You should never go to Watford as a manager. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but I've heard when he was at Forest Green, I heard good stuff in the Football League that he was a good, promising young manager.
Yeah.
And obviously he decided to go to Watford, and I think that caused a bit of stir with Forest Green.
You got to question
the way he left.
You got to question a manager that chooses the Watford job at this point. I'm just saying.
It's a poison chalice, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now there's rumours that they're going to go back to the old manager. He went to Spurs.
Santo.
Santo.
See,
so
didn't he go to the UAE or something to manage.
I think he's Al Ain or something. He was at. I think it's Al Ain or Al Ali or something. But he'll be on crazy money out there, and I mean absolutely crazy money. But the football that they played under Espirito Santo was lovely football. If they tore teams apart, but that's when they had players like Jota, Jimenez playing week in, week out, Adama Traore running up and doing that wing as well.
Last season, though, I think arguably they actually played better football last season than under Santos, and it's just collapsed this season.
Yeah.
I think given the time, the other guy would have sorted it out. But I just don't think he has the squad.
All I'm saying is Nuno Santos was never the same when he let Matt Doherty go to Spurs.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone's got anything else to add on that one before we...
Wolves need to find their identity quickly, and they just have.
I was going to quickly say, and it's another 3-0 victory for Graham Potter. Since he came in, I think they've only conceded 1 goal in the Premier League for with Chelsea. Starting to build a strong team there.
Yeah, and we're going to talk quite heavily on him, I think, in a bit. And he's a very good manager. I've always rated him. I live near Brighton, and people can't say enough about him and the good manager he is. Coming from, I think, compared to other English managers where they've learnt their trade in England, he's gone abroad before coming over to Swansea. As Gormy will know him very well from Swansea, and then just what he done at Brighton was mental. So I'm sure we'll get more into him in a minute. But next we had West Ham 3, Fulham 1. Surprising result how Fulham have been playing this season compared to West Ham, but West Ham getting the result. And did you want to get us started on that, Gorman?
I mean, West Ham are that team that you look at them on paper, they should 110% be doing better than they are. I mean, you bring in a player like Lucas Paqueta, Gianluca Scamacca. Those two players should definitely be contributing a lot. Declan Rice should be contributing a lot. Souček, same thing. But things just are not clicking at the moment. I guarantee you post-World Cup, everything's going to kind of come together. I think that World Cup break is going to help out a lot of teams kind of recuperate. But Fulham, like you said, they're doing way, way better than everyone thought they were going to do.
Doing very well, more than I thought
he looks unbelievable for
it's completely different
from the United
player. From the United player that I know, he looks completely different.
Yeah, and Alexander Mitrovic, everyone's always asked questions of him because in the past he hasn't been able to do it at the Premier League level because when he came over from Anderlecht to Newcastle, wasn't able to do it. That's why he left. Fulham then bring him in, and he still really isn't able to do that at the Premier League level. Goes down, has a banger of a season, like dwarfs what Ivan Toney did.
I think Andreas
comes
is
up
having
and
a
is still
Lingard
continuing
type
it.
season.
Yeah.
Andreas is having a Lingard at West Ham type season. At this new club. Found his people that he can actually play with, that he's like the main attacking midfielder. He can do what he wants.
And the players that they brought in at Fulham as well, they are the players that fit that system because that manager usually is not given time.
They brought
in the past, he was not.
They brought big
I think he's learned from it, like the way he's playing as well. I think he's definitely learned from his mistakes at Watford and Everton on the way he's playing, and he's done a good job there. I think Fulham have learned as well from their mistakes in the Premier League last time, where yes, they bought quite a lot of players this summer, but it was a lot more smarter, and it was not.
It was the ones that were going to fit the system.
It's slightly different with Forest because they had to do what they did, but Forest are in a very similar situation, I think, to what Fulham were then, where they've changed much.
Fulham are that team that in the past have always been that team that come up, go right back down. They are in the past have been the definition of a yo-yo club.
Yeah.
I will say they were the masters of their own downfall in this particular game. Like, they gave away a stupid penalty that could have been avoided.
Yeah, but where they're sitting currently in the league, if they keep that up, I think they finally have realized, like, okay, we're done with this yo-yo stuff. We want to stay up because they've never had, like Boom was just saying about Wolves, they have to find their identity. I think Fulham are starting to finally find their identity and realizing, okay, we need to stop this inconsistency. We need to become consistent because Fulham are a club that can be pretty big if they do the right things. I mean, think back when exactly like when Clint Dempsey was there. I mean, that was a crazy good team, but I mean, they really fell off, obviously, with what's happened in previous seasons.
I will say, speaking of West Ham and Fulham, West Ham are now 1-0 up against Anderlecht.
I will update the graphic.
There we go. Anderlecht are a team that have not had the greatest start to the season in Belgium. Not at all. They're playing a lot of their youngsters. They played a 16-year-old a couple weeks ago, and he actually looks pretty promising. So.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else got anything to add on the West Ham Fulham game?
Just one quick one. I think David Moyes deserves a lot of credit. He was under the cosh for quite a bit of time there, asking for. Well, fans were asking for to leave, but he's starting to. I think he's starting to turn around. Like Gomi said, they're starting to pick up some good points away from home and at home, especially. I mean, it's a good 3-1 victory, and I think the players will start to gel, like Scamacca and Paqueta.
Despite the league form, they were doing quite well in the Conference League the entire time.
I think it's very similar to Burnley a few years back. About they've had so many games with the squad depth they've got, and the Europe and the Premier League and Cup games. They've just had so many games, and I just don't think they've got the depth. It's very similar to that season when Burnley were in the Europa League, and it's just too much. I think.
I agree.
And I think sacking Moyes would be what he's done there.
He's brought them back to relevance.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it would be a big mistake. They've wanted that relevancy and that good manager and that good football for so long. They finally had it. Now it's had a little blip, and they want to get rid of it again. It's just,
they needed to come back to relevancy, and so did David Moyes. Because I mean, the stuff that happened at Man United has haunted that man.
His career after that went like completely downhill until this West Ham gig.
Exactly. Yeah. So him and the club both needed this. Yeah. So, like John said, there's a little blip. It's a little hiccup. It's like the Sky Bet Championship. Each club is allowed one hiccup a season. It just can't last for too long.
Yeah.
So this is a blip on the radar for West Ham. Yeah. They have nothing to worry about.
And I agree. If you look back at how long they still haven't really has it took Everton to replace him as a manager who's achieved that, like what he was doing with that Everton team, he was getting them top 6 quite a lot, like consistent top 6 team.
Yeah, like Marwan Fellaini was the star player.
Yeah, he was.
So like
Leighton Baines and Fellaini, yeah. But he made that a top 6 team relevant for quite a few years, and he's doing the same with West Ham. So I think it would be a mistake if they did let him go.
Yeah.
Our next game is a crack of a game, and that is Arsenal 3, Liverpool 2. I'm sure Gormy really enjoyed this.
I'm sure he's not annoyed at the referee at all.
No, not whatsoever.
On that, before we start, VAR this weekend's been so inconsistent again, isn't it? Like
very.
So basically, same tackle in like 3 different games and different outcomes from the same thing. It's like
and also like many different handball kind of decisions.
Yeah,
the rule of handball.
3 different handballs, all different outcomes. Like what?
You've even seen it in the Champions League the past couple of days as well. So like it's
exactly.
It's not just the inconsistencies with VAR; it is the officials themselves.
I don't think anyone knows the true handball rule these days.
Yeah, and we did have that as one of our questions of the day, which is a new segment of our new Discord. Make sure you do estimation mark Discord in the chat if you want to jump in the RTL Football Podcast Discord. We have questions a day. We've got fancy football. We've got loads of different things in there, so make sure you jump in there. And yes, we'll start on that game now. So Arsenal 3, Liverpool 2. Did you want to kick it off, Cormy?
I think in this game, Arsenal showed their quality. I mean, they're a very, very good young team. Definitely. Liverpool, I don't want it all to come crashing down this season after Sadio Mane leaves. Because, I mean, you got to think Sadio Mane left, one, because he wanted a new challenge, but two, I think he felt this coming on. Smart to get ahead of something like this so that you aren't a part of the cancerous situation that it'll become. Hopefully, the World Cup break will help fix that. But Arsenal looked very, very good for a bunch of kids. You can win with kids. Mikel Arteta is proving that. Now, when it comes to the pen that they won on, that there's no way ever that is pen worthy.
No.
There's that is a love tap.
Yeah.
That is nothing. That's basically he could have sneezed on him and gotten a red.
then you have that, and then the penalty you didn't get in the first half.
Yeah.
At the end of it was the handball.
And then you look at the disallowed goal in the United game as well.
It's just the inconsistencies are everywhere, and it's becoming blatantly obvious to every fan of every club around Europe that has VAR. Because, like I said previously, it's not just VAR; it is also the officials. It is inconsistent on both sides. You don't know what you're going to get from game to game.
They're not using it as an assist to make a decision. They're using it to make the decision. So. Yeah. If that says goal, they're going with that and not what they see.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the cat also has strong opinions on VAR.
Yeah. But no, it's just, it's frustrating because you know that your team at least, yes, we were not at our best, but at least deserved a point. So it's just, not... When something like that happens, it puts a sour taste in your mouth for sure, especially for something like VAR. So it's unfortunate. Arsenal were great, not taking anything away from them. They were great.
Gormy, as a Liverpool fan, he shouldn't, but do you think question marks would be asked about Klopp if he didn't get top 4 by the board? He shouldn't. But
it's not on Klopp. It's not on Klopp.
The way the Premier League is, though, do you think it will come back on Klopp?
I hope it doesn't. I personally don't think it should, because is Klopp the one out there on the pitch playing game in, game out? No, he has to put the game plan into play, and it's up to the players to execute that game plan. Clearly, they are not doing it.
And clearly, it's weird about them. Clearly, there's players in there because they can go into like the Rangers and pump them 7-1 out of nowhere.
Yeah, but now we wasted all of our goals for the weekend. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can do that, but then you look so bad in some games.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird to me.
You've just got to look at Tuchel though. Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea, and
Chelsea is extreme with their managers.
Yeah, 100% agree with that one.
Extreme.
And also, I feel like if the board do question Klopp and get rid of him, they would have the entire Liverpool fan base against said board.
Yeah,
like it's just because the way that we went about bringing in Klopp, we had it planned that he was going to be the guy after Brendan Rodgers, because Man United wanted Klopp, we wanted Klopp. Our pitch was the one that worked. He has done magic with the team, but I'm one thing I'm tired of hearing about is how great some of our players are, because you put them in other teams like Trent Alexander-Arnold, he is not the same player in another team unless he is under Klopp. Klopp makes that kid work really well. You see it in the English national team. He's not going to do the same for Southgate.
Look what he done with Robertson. Robertson was a player he got.
Yeah, Andrew Robertson's amazing. Honestly, Kostas Šimikas has been just as good as Andy Robertson if you look at the numbers. Šimikas has been unreal if you look at the numbers. I'm saying,
like, Klopp for the last few years have competed with very little funding compared to the other people he's competing against.
I wouldn't say very little funding. We have to sell to sign. But we don't have the Man City money. So, like, bringing in Darwin Núñez for £80 million, that's a hell of a lot. But we've had to sell players to make that happen. Because sometimes we'll sell players and then not bring anyone in. So it's what also hurts is the injuries. I'm not going to use the injuries as an excuse, but it is two key players.
You've now lost Diaz, who I thought was like.
When I heard that, I wanted to put my head through a wall because
I said to my Liverpool friend that literally, if I had to, without Diaz and Firmino, Liverpool season would be in the bin. Completely.
Yeah, because we have, for some reason, I haven't been a person to do it. I mean, when I play FIFA, obviously Firmino drives me nuts. But I mean, in reality, I don't get why so many people go in on Firmino.
I agree.
Because he has been quality since coming over.
Yeah.
I think it's because when we brought in Jota is great. He just has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, he's phenomenal.
I think
so. That's our biggest thing is staying healthy.
I think he does a lot of work behind that you don't see, like, compared to like he's not like he kind of holds up the ball to bring in your Salahs, your Manes. Compared to, he's not like a striker like, say, a Benzema who just puts it all away, or a Haaland who just puts it all away. He's not there for that, and it's not the Klopp way. He's kind of like a second Cam, if you know what I mean. Like, he's like a higher Cam. Like, he's assisting. Like, his main job is assist striker kind of thing.
Yeah,
but he can bang home the goals if he wants to. So like but it all comes down to really the defense of Liverpool right now, because they're in shambles all over the place.
That's what I was going to throw to you, Gormy. What do you think's happened at that backline? A team that barely conceded any goals to now conceding.
Van Dijk looks like a shell of his former self.
Yeah. I think see Van Dijk, he's not got he's not had a partner for week in, week out. He's not got somebody to bounce off of week in, week out.
Through time, it has been Matip.
Yeah, but Matip's been injured, but then Konaté's coming in. Konaté's been injured at the exact same time. So it's and then obviously with Trent's issues, either confidence-wise, ability-wise, Robertson being injured, they've not had that continuity at the back as previous seasons have done. So
I think injuries are definitely hurting us, but also people being inconsistent, because there's times, I mean, I've said it to multiple people, you can go all the way back to the Champions League final where you're watching Virgil van Dijk have to cover for Trent.
Yeah,
Virgil is not supposed to cover for two people.
Nope.
I personally feel if I were picking an English national team, which we'll get to later on, I would take Reece James in a heartbeat over Trent. In a heartbeat. I would take him in the Liverpool team as well.
Yeah, I saw them analyze the first goal against Arsenal, where Arsenal scored. Like, Trent moved over to a position that he shouldn't have.
Two people got behind him. He's watching someone he's not supposed to, and two people get behind him.
He goes to help out Henderson when they shouldn't.
I mean, I think, like I've said with a lot of these teams, that World Cup break will help people.
Yeah,
I think it'll help Trent big time, because say he's left out of the English squad, stay back with Klopp.
I don't think they'll leave him out, but I think.
But just say it does. It's a long shot, but just say it happens. He should stay back with Klopp and study.
I think
and
the RTL,
realize what's going on.
I think the RTL football podcast put a curse on Van Dijk and him when they were both somehow because of FMFO somehow in the contention for Team of the Year in the summer. So somehow
all-time Premier League
team, and somehow those two were in contention.
No.
So they didn't get in. I made sure they didn't get in.
I fully was in chat, not going against their decisions.
So,
but yeah, it's difficult trying to pinpoint one single area for why this is happening. But if I were to pinpoint an area, it's the defense. Because if we had Andy Robertson on his A game, fully healthy, Virgil van Dijk on his A game, fully healthy, Kanate, same thing, Trent, same thing, we're fine. But we don't have that.
I do also have to question one of the transfers in bringing Arthur Melo in on loan. When I saw that happen in the thing, I was like, this man's injury prone.
And then he gets
a very risk
for the entire time he's going to be here, basically.
He's out for 3 months.
3 to 4 months. They're not giving a full.
It's just there's not much you can do about it, to be honest. When you do something like that, bringing in a player on loan who is injury prone, you got to hope that they don't get injured. If they do, what's your backup plan?
Yeah.
So
anyway, we need to move it on from there. And the last game we're going to go depth into before we just gloss over some other games is Manchester United 2, Everton 1. All I'm going to say is Anthony's going to be one hell of a player.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks really good.
He scored in every Premier League game he started so far.
He only scores bangers. He doesn't score tap-ins, he only scores bangers.
Well, I mean, if you watched him play at Ajax, he was kind of the same there, but he was very, very skillful at Ajax because he could get away with doing all that. If you start to see that in the Prem, they have their new wonder boy at Man United that everyone's gonna go gaga over. Because I mean,
I'm very excited.
I've seen a lot of comparisons.
No offense to Man United fans, but you guys get super hyped over players that do well for a season.
But I have seen comparisons.
Not naming names.
Yeah, but if he can do this for this season and the season after, then you probably have something on your hands that's pretty special.
He's reminding a lot of people of what Nani was for us. Very person with a lot of tricks, but sometimes can frustrate you with the shots that he makes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but there's talent in there.
As I say though, he only scores bangers.
And Nani was a self-proclaimed best player. He claimed that himself, that he was better than Ronaldo.
Yeah, and
one of my most funniest things reading.
Manchester United 2, 1 Everton. Obviously, Everton getting the first goal quite early on, and us
a banger from Iwobi though.
Yeah, great goal by Iwobi.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah, I actually need to put that in the Discord for potential for the goal of the month with some of the other contenders. Make sure you get your goals in for that if you are.
I need to put the Pulisic goal in.
Yeah.
After.
So make sure you get your goals in for that as well.
And Ronaldo, 700 career goals.
He's done it. It's took him a while because of his form and fitness, but hopefully he can get a few more now. Obviously, we're playing at the moment. It's currently 0-0 in Europa League.
West Ham's currently 2-0 now.
Is it 2-0 now? I will update that. Gormy, Gormy and Boom. Chris, what do you? What else do you think about?
The thing is with Man United, they're starting to get a wee bit more solid at the back.
Yeah.
Since it's been Varane and Martinez, they're not conceding as many daft goals as they did do.
Yeah, we have a solid foundation than what we used to have.
Martinez
we're still as you can tell, in the Manchester derby, we're still miles away.
Yeah,
from ever competing up there, but we're slowly building again.
I mean, see, the thing is with the Manchester derby, that was an eye opener for Ten Hag, I think. I think
that was him to see how far he is away from
the
title.
100%. I mean, I still think right back is a problem for Man United. Dalot, I don't think...
We only have Dalot.
That's what I'm saying. If Dalot gets injured,
for example, he's not even played Aaron Wan-Bissaka at all.
He was open. He was trying to get rid of Wan-Bissaka in the summer. So,
and he's playing Dalot in pretty much every game. Like, he's not even used Wan-Bissaka one. And at one point, he moved Malacia to right back instead of bringing on Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I think that bargain of the summer has got to be Malacia.
Yeah, Tyrell is amazing. I mean,
13 million
for true football people that live, breathe, bleed football. People know that kid is good because when I was watching him play against AS Roma in the Europa Conference League final, he was one of those players that stood out. He's a very, very solid player going forward. He's a solid player in defense. I mean, you look at him, you give him 2 years, that kid could probably look like a Dama Traore.
And it was like interesting that he was 1 minute away from going to Lyon.
Mm-hmm.
When we basically called him up and said, no, you are not going to Lyon.
Yeah, your Dutch are coming to us.
Well, one thing that I do want to say about with Ten Hag, and this is coming from a Liverpool fan, y'all need to give him time because off the rip, people were losing their minds. Oh, we need to get rid of him. He's not going to be the one. Oh, we could be relegated. Oh my God! Now we're winning 3 games in a row. We're going to win the league. It's like it's just everywhere. With the Man United fan base, it's just there needs to be some level.
What I said this season for us is going to be up, down, up, down, up. We're gonna go on smaller, then we're gonna get like a City game where we're gonna.
I think we need to forget about those first 2 games. He was getting used to his team. He didn't know anything, but I think
he learned some of the players that he can't trust.
I think he had to get used to the Premier League style as well.
Yeah, that's what I say there. Yeah,
that City game is just a blitz. It was expected, but if you look at the other Premier League games since that, except for those 3, the 2 that he was getting used to the league, and then the blitz that was the City, we were in good form. So I'm pretty happy.
You also got to put into it the form. That form was also stagnated by the fact that that things got suspended for 2 weeks of our games.
Yeah, definitely. And
no, we still would have lost, Chris. I'm just
see the thing is, like I said before, I didn't think Ten Hag knew his first starting 11 for a long time, for the first maybe 3 or 4 games. Then I think that 2 week break that everyone had, that helped Manchester United out a lot more. Obviously, some of them went away to internationals, but the ones that didn't, he had time to work on them, likes of Malacia, likes of Varane, likes of Martinez. I don't think he went away with Argentina. He's got Rashford playing again. I mean, that's a massive boost for Manchester United. If you're getting Rashford playing again, and you've got Anthony on the other side, them two kind of.
The one I feel bad for is like he was getting in good form in pre-season, but he's had so many injuries. I thought he was going to have Martial. He was going to have such a good season, I think, but his injuries have just killed that.
And every game he then starts, he gets injured again.
Yeah, he's had I think he's had 4 different injuries this season already with completely different things.
With what Chris said on him getting that time to work with the players, he's going to get that time again with the players that are not going to the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
All of these managers are because I've said to a couple people,
example,
this is going to be one of the most interesting seasons in the Premier League in recent years because of this winter break.
Yeah,
there's going to be so many teams that recoup and alter the way that they're going to play and think. And I honestly, in January, I think there's going to be a lot of shakeups with some of the players, some of the teams. But I think post-January, this league is going to be must-watch every single weekend.
For example, he'll have time because clearly Sancho's not going to get picked. We can pretty much say he's been out of the running. So he's going to get time to work on Sancho, who's now out of form at the moment.
Southgate needs to take 12 right backs. So,
he's going to get. So he's going to get it. So Ten Hag's going to get a chance to work on Sancho's form that he's dipped out of.
And exactly. I think another thing as well before we move on is with obviously that first 2 games gave him the excuse to drop Maguire, get Martinez straight in that team, and I think since that Scott had some really good form, so I think he wanted to drop Scott. Probably, obviously, you want to drop Scott for guy who's just been man of the match in the Champions League final last season.
Clearly stayed there.
But you can't drop someone when he's in form.
Mm.
So I think
he doesn't like changing a winning team. He clearly said that himself many times.
But I think that City game could be a good thing because I think long term Scott doesn't get back in that team over Casemiro.
And also that City game gave Luke Shaw now a chance to come back and try and prove himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last 2 games Malacia wasn't the best.
Yeah. Anyway, we will move on now and gloss over a few games. So Bournemouth 2, Leicester 1. Leicester continue in their dreadful form, and he's still in the job.
Although a lot of people predicted Leicester to win that game, except for me. I said in a chat, I could see Bournemouth winning that game. I think the result last week against Forest. The result last week against Forest was just Forest are also poor, so anyone could have won that between the two. So Bournemouth have completely changed it around with the person they have at the moment doing caretaker.
Exactly, they look unbelievable.
They're kind of having a Solskjaer caretaker kind of situation where he just keeps on doing results now.
I mean, looking at Leicester, it's just gone from bad to worse to awful. And I think if
without James Maddison, where would they be?
Yeah, if the result goes against them against Palace this weekend, I think this could be the end of Brendan Rodgers at Leicester City. I really do.
They made some question. They made some very question. I bring it back to getting rid of Schmeichel for $1 million.
Horrible.
From what everyone's led to believe that he wanted that move because
you don't want to go for $1 million even if you want.
No, I think he's seen this coming. That's why, like Gourmet said, regarding kind of Sadio Mane type of thing.
You do see it coming, but you don't allow that player to leave for just $1 million.
He wanted to keep his legacy at Leicester as a title winner, as the person who, as the captain who got as he was captain in the Champions League. He didn't want to leave,
but they could have got more money for him than just replace him. That was the questionable.
Even Rodgers said it's not the same club as 18 months ago. He said that in a press conference. Surprised he's not got sacked for that.
Ward is just not a good keeper at the moment.
Do you think? Obviously, we had the sad passing of the owner a couple of years back in the helicopter crash.
Yeah.
Do you think his son is just not as invested? Not as invested into running the club as he was, because he was.
I don't think it's that. I just think he
was such a good owner
to run it in general, because they also own OHL in Belgium. Both clubs are having massive financial issues. Both clubs are underperforming.
Yep. I think this. See, I mean,
I was told, in the background with someone that knows Leicester fans, they reckon there's a lot of financial issues happening in the background that we're not told about.
I even heard
this.
I even had a report they couldn't afford Rodgers' termination contract. I heard that from I can't remember who reported it, but someone said they couldn't afford the buyout in his contract because of their financial difficulties.
I think what's happened in the last 2 years has impacted them severely, i.e. COVID.
Yeah.
With the lack of fans, the lack of sponsorship, lack of money coming into the club, the money that some of these players are on as well at the club. I mean, you've got James Maddison, probably the highest earner at Leicester, probably.
it's sad because it's such a big competition. It used to be such a big competition, but I think the prize money from winning the FA Cup is barely anything now.
Yeah,
so obviously they won that, but I think that's nothing compared to it used to be because everyone just cares about the league, and it's sad because it's such a big, like, historic English Cup, but it's just not respected to the level it used to be.
Yeah.
Moving on. Tottenham 1, Brighton 0. Brighton didn't play bad, but Tottenham just nicked the result. Haven't got much to add on that.
Brighton's new manager is pretty good. They've replaced Potter quite well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they haven't dropped. Form
I agree.
And I will say Conte is wrong. Starting Matt Doherty didn't make his team lose. His team won. I'm just saying, Conte, you got that completely wrong.
It's right. It'll be at Juventus soon, so it's fine. Crystal Palace 2, Leeds 1. Palace continuing their good football under Patrick Vieira. I think he's really underrated manager. I think he's got to pick. I think if considered for the Nets, got to be considered for another top job soon. How he's doing at Palace, I think the last 18 months, 2 years, what he's done at Palace.
Why leave Crystal Palace when you're building something?
But what I will say on the Leeds side of things, I had people at the start of the season, Leeds fans, saying that, oh, look at we're up in the top half, the top 4. We're going to be really good this season. I was like,
was that Mulch?
This is only. Yes, it was Mulch. I was like, this is only the beginning, Mulch. Calm down. Like, you'll be back down as soon as.
I watched this game live on Sunday, and it was a brilliant game of football. For a neutral, it was a brilliant game of football. Both teams wanted to play football. Leeds, I like the way Jesse March has got Leeds playing football.
He got annoyed at Villa the other week for not wanting to play football. He literally said in his interview.
Definitely.
Villa did not want to play football like he did.
The thing is, as well, I mean, they're getting players back as well. Like, if they get Bamford back into some sort of full fitness, there's another goal scorer for them as well. They've got good players at that.
And that Arison person is really good.
I was going to say, the boy, another American, Tyler Adams, good player.
I thought Tyler Adams was going to be a good signing. From Leipzig, and he's a good player. And the next and final game of the Premier League we're talking about today is Nottingham Forest 1, Villa 1. The derby, Gerrard's still in trouble. Forest went from about to sack their manager to give him a 5-year contract in about 12 hours.
Very questionable.
Yes.
I don't understand why that was done, but it was done. So...
Like, they wanted to get rid of the rumors of him being sacked every week, but you could have done that without giving him a new contract.
And then they also sacked their head of recruitment and head of scouting the day after as well. After signing 22 players in the summer, they sacked their head of scouting.
With that being done, that's basically saying Steve Cooper did not have a whole.
Who would have thought signing 20-odd players would disrupt the team?
Exactly.
I think you've got to. It's a bit hard on them because a lot of people don't realise, and I've said it before. Like, yes, but they did sign 22 players, but they had to.
They did. Morris told me before that they lost a lot of.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to go into. I've had this conversation with Morris as well, and they had, I think, 6 players registered. If they didn't sign 22 players this summer, I think they would have had 6 players at the club.
That's insane.
But I put it down to they bought the wrong type of players. Like, getting Serge Aurier on the free is just questionable.
Yeah, because either they were on loan or their contracts were running out. So richly, they would have had 6 players going into the Premier League if they didn't sign 22 players. So it's used a bit. Yeah, you've got to kind of consider that when you say it. But they're just the wrong players they brought in as
Serge Aurier, Dean Henderson, Jesse Lingard. All of them have egos.
I mean, the only one I've seen from the game against Villa Monday night was that Emmanuel Dennis. That's the boy for Watford, isn't it?
Yeah.
Played well for Watford. He looks a live wire. If they can get a player to play in and around him, he'll score goals. He will score goals, but is that enough to keep them up?
But Dean Henderson with the ego of greatest keeper in the world is literally conceding every week.
He's wrecked his career. He cut all his ties with United, who still own him, which is stupid.
Yep.
Like with his comments,
he literally said he only wishes he could play against United, but the loan won't let him.
Yeah, and he said I didn't want to show
Ten Hag how good I am because he'd want me to stay.
Keep me.
Yep.
And then
the man has the ego for everything, and then he's just been pumped every week.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to. I've chosen one European game of the week, and we've gone for the German derby, and that was Dortmund 2, Bayern 2. What a game!
Yes, sir. I love.
You want to kick us
love
off?
The way they came back, dude.
Did you want to kick us off on this, Gormy? As you're so excited about this.
I support Dortmund. They're my German club. I support Mainz and Dortmund, and funnily enough, Liverpool, because Jurgen Klopp has managed all three. Now, the way that they came back,
surprise.
I was ecstatic. My dad is a Bayern fan, so he was not very happy. But when they came back, oh my word, Youssoufa Moukoko is unbelievable. Jude Bellingham, unbelievable. Schlotterbeck, who thought that kid could pass like that?
I mean, Dortmund looked completely out of it, and
and then later on, it's like they literally went, "Hold my beer, we're getting back in." Like it was unreal. Like Bayern should have easily finished them off, but they didn't.
There's something about Bayern
it's on them.
There's something.
I wouldn't say it's something about Bayern this year. Bayern are still the best team in that league, but everyone is starting to figure them out. Union Berlin is a perfect example. Union Berlin.
I mean, they don't have the person that could change the game, and like Lewandowski, he could change it out of nowhere just for being.
I wouldn't necessarily say they don't have a player like that. They have multiple players like that.
No, but I'm saying they used to, like, out of nowhere they were struggling. Lewandowski would hit the ball in the net.
All right, let's be honest. Lewandowski was just the biggest name there. That's what he was. That's why everyone was like, "Oh, he can change a game at any moment."
Like
there are multiple players there that can do it. Sadio Mane, Jamal Musiala, Leroy Sané, Kingsley Coman's done it. Serge Gnabry, Thomas Muller, Joshua Kimmich when he decides to hit the net.
But when you have Lewandowski there, everyone focuses on Levy, and then the other players get freedom to actually. Without him there, you start noticing their wingers and their stuff, and you start marking every single person in that front line better.
Which has happened to Liverpool. Without Sadio Mane, everyone knows, all right, take Mo out of the game. They don't have a guy that can score a hat trick now. So,
unless you're Rangers. Sorry, I had to throw that.
Unless you're Rangers and you only have 6, and he comes on for 6 minutes.
But I mean, it's just that Dortmund win was huge for them to get something out of that game.
Yeah, like Gomez said, that game turned. I think the game turned when who was it got sent off?
Coleman got sent off.
Coleman got sent off. But I want to ask you this, Gormy. Bellingham should have been sent off. I think
I don't know.
If that was in the Premier League, Bellingham would have been sent off. I think.
Well, yeah, it's the Prem.
But you know what I mean?
But do you get what I mean by I'm saying it's the Prem? Yeah. Look at what happened in Liverpool Arsenal. That would not happen in the Bundesliga. You would have someone set something on fire in the stands. They have flares and everything. It would happen.
Yep. So the thing is as well, I was happy that the guy who missed an absolute sitter to make it 2-1 before the guy who scored the equaliser. Modeste. I was Anthony Modeste. I was happy that he scored the equaliser because the sitter that he missed.
Dude, that was so bad.
Yes.
I mean,
when he missed that, everyone was like looking at him like, "You're paid to be a professional." So someone in the 4th tier in Germany could have just scored that.
Yeah, I was so happy it was him. But
because he's gotten a lot of sticks since coming over.
In the 95th minute too from a set piece, just the whip it in.
Mm-hmm.
For that man to score from that, just the story in the 95th minute, all was lost,
and especially in front of the yellow wall as well.
Yeah, exactly. that's the Dare Classic care at its best. Like you want a good game, that is it. Like up to that point, it was slow.
Yeah,
but that then happens, and it's like, oh my god, this is what we're used to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that is our European Game of the Week. I'm going to try and do one of those every week. I'm sure next week will be our Classico. So who's
playing that game? I mean, who's playing that game? Is it
Barcelona Madrid?
Who's that? I've never heard that game before.
So next is
you can probably tell who I'm supporting with the Real Madrid thing.
Yeah.
Is that Atletico in the background there? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a Real Madrid shirt on as well, I believe.
Yeah.
And
hello, Madrid.
Next, we are going into our little side subject of the week. Not our subject of the week, but a little side subject. And that is managerial sackings. So, how we've been away, changing everything up, making these lovely graphics and hiring my new team. I've had quite a few sackings in the Premier League. So we've had Middlesbrough, we've had West Brom, we've had Wolves. We in the Championship and Premier League, we've had who else have we had? Chelsea. So there's been quite a lot of sackings how we've been away. So where do we want to start? Do we start in the Championship and go to Gormy, I believe? So Gormy, as our Championship fan with Swansea, what do you think about the sackings in the Championship?
All I know is West Brom want Russell Martin. Because Russell Martin has us in 6th now. We had our hiccup early, thank God, because we always have our hiccup late, and it screws up our playoff hopes or us potentially going up their automatic promotion. In my opinion, we've had it early. We didn't have the greatest start, so with Russell Martin literally turning everything around, we're in 6th right now. They want to bring in Russell Martin. I heard
rumors Norwich. I heard rumors Norwich fans are calling for him because that Norwich. I know they're that high up in the Championship, but they're not happy with the way they're playing in the Championship.
Those are those. Catch a break.
Yeah, those are those clubs that they think because they've been to the Prem a whole heck of a lot that we need to sack this guy because we deserve to go back up to the Prem. We are literally a feeder club to all of these other clubs with our managers and our players. Yeah. Graham Potter, I wish, was with us longer than a season, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really frustrating being that club that is that feeder club to where we're doing well right now early on, and a club that isn't wants to bring in our manager because they see themselves as, we deserve to be in the Prem.
Where are West Brom in the league compared to you?
22nd. They're in the bottom. They're in the bottom.
So
half.
Just saying that alone, why? Excuse my French. Why in the hell would he go there? Why would he go?
I'm sure they're 20th or something like that in Championship.
Yeah.
It's just, and I mean with Middlesbrough.
Yeah, the 22nd.
I don't really have a whole lot to say on them because, in my opinion, they are a Championship level team.
Yeah.
So I mean, Swansea, we're that team that when we go up, we're going to be up for a couple of years, and then we'll go back down because everything falls apart.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened with Gary Monk, which sucked. But I mean, it is what it is. So
I think if Martin doesn't go to West Brom, I think a person like Sean Dyche would be ideal.
Just about
he would get everything back in order.
Yeah, would be ideal for either Middlesbrough or West Brom.
I want him to get another Premier League job though, because I love Sean Dyche.
But see, the thing is, I mean,
or England job.
We might talk about that later on.
4-4-2.
You've seen the TikTok.
but see, the thing is with like Gomez said, West Brom think they're a Premier League club. I don't. They're like Fulham. They're a team that comes up, comes down, comes up.
Yeah, they're
comes
a yo-yo
down.
club.
They're a yo-yo club. They always have been. But
they can't find their identity. They don't know what that is. They haven't had it since Ben Foster was there.
I've probably got a good shout for West Brom, and it's an ex-player from West Brom, Derek McInnes. He is available for hire because he got signed by Aberdeen. He plays good football. He tries to play good football. So there's a team that possibly could give, but you never see. The thing is, he never had a great time when he was at Bristol City as manager. He got sacked out there very, very quickly. But
that's a team that needs to get up to the Prem. Just a shot at it is Bristol City.
Yeah. But the managerial merry-go-round, I think, could be in full swing again, like we already mentioned. With a certain Brendan Rodgers this weekend
and Stevie G.
I think Gerrard's got a wee bit more time than Rodgers, because I think with Aston Villa there's more.
I also think with results-wise, not the form-wise, because I think they've done decently in games, but the results-wise, I think Hasselhoefen is in trouble as well. Coming up soon.
Rob Hasselhoefen at Southampton.
I actually really like
but I think he might gonna be in trouble. Results are just not going his way.
Nah.
I think he made some really good signings in the summer.
If there is to be a managerial merry-go-round, it happens after the World Cup. Because you're going to have everyone like analyzing, all right, what can we do to kind of save our season type deal?
Yeah, you need to do it on an
and you're going to see those teams under managers at the World Cup that people are like, wow, that guy that's managing Denmark is doing a phenomenal job. I want to bring him in to Leicester.
That November national break is normally quite popular for managerial sackings anyway. If you add 3 extra weeks to that international break,
you could see a lot of things change. That's what I'm saying. Like, come then, January, February, the Prem's going to be must-watch football because of all the different. There will be player changes. There will be managerial changes. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it happens and who ends up where.
Yeah.
But it is for sure going to happen.
Definitely. And going into the Prem, obviously we spoke about Potter. He's doing really well at
no, that wasn't a sacking. That was a promotion.
Yeah,
it's a glow up as well. Have you seen Graham Potter recently? Jeez.
Yeah, have you seen the way he dresses?
He's
now?
had a glow up. the fashionable suits. He's ditched attractions.
Man was only used to playing Carabao Cup games on Wednesday. Suddenly he's Champions League music.
He used to hear the Champions League music when he's playing FIFA.
We will be like that next season with FM. We'll hear that Champions League music and then we'll move. Yeah, and so I think we've covered that. And so who do we think? Do we think that caretaker at Bournemouth is going to get that job permanently? Will we move on?
If he's doing this well, I don't see why not. Why not give him
I think he deserves a chance to get it. Based on what he's been doing.
My only kind of problem with that is if it goes horribly wrong for him. That's his confidence is in the mud.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, at the moment he deserves a chance to be.
Yes, I agree. I do agree. I think
I'd love Sean Dyche at Bournemouth.
Maybe, but see,
with new ownership, he might actually get money.
But the thing is, Bournemouth kind of tend to play more football, whereas Dyche is kind of like anti-football. Do
we think he was forced to do that because of
the players he had?
Yeah,
not just the players, but the financial ability he had at Burnley, to where he kind of had to play a certain way to get results and stay up.
It could be a bit of both, to be fair. It could be a bit of both. But
I don't think we'll know unless he gets another job.
Exactly.
Yeah, so hopefully that happens soon. So we will now move on to our subject of the week, which is the future of the English national team, and we have a video from our very own Chris to show you. And so. Chris's tactical breakdown. So we will now show you a video of Chris breaking down the England national team versus Germany a few weeks back. So over to Chris.
Hi guys, welcome to the tactical breakdown with myself, Chris Watt. Today we'll be discussing the recent formation and tactics that Gareth Southgate implemented against Germany in the recent 3-each draw with Germany in the final Nations League group game. Gareth Southgate implemented a 5-2-2-1 formation, or for olden times a 3-4-2-1. When with Nick Pope in goal, Eric Dyer, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Reece James, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling, and Harry Kane up front. So when you look at it on paper, solid team, okay in the midfield, and great going forward. The thing that I can see that I personally don't think Gareth Southgate knows his ideal starting 11. I don't know if that's confidence in certain players, or if he's too loyal to certain players, such as Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw. Because I think the way that England's set up nowadays is far too negative. You've not got that attacking threat that you used to see when England got together. You used to blow away teams for fun. Okay, yes, they weren't up against some great teams of quality, but when you've got a World Cup around the corner, you've not scored a goal from open play for, I think it was nearly 500-600 minutes that they hadn't scored a goal in open play up until the Germany game. There's something fundamentally wrong. And is that the tactics? Is it the personnel? Is it the manager? It could be a combination of all three, if you think on it. So when you look at the back three especially, Harry Maguire not been playing well for Manchester United. John Stones is probably one of the best ball-playing centre-backs in the Premier League at this moment in time. Eric Dyer has came into form with Spurs of late. Reece James, probably one of the best all-round right-backs in the world at this moment in time. Then you have Luke Shaw again, not been playing much for Manchester United, but is a solid left-back. Then you have Declan Rice in the midfield with Jude Bellingham, who's probably one of the best young prospects at this moment in time for England. And then further forward, Phil Foden, playing well for Manchester City. Raheem Sterling, he's a bit indifferent. It's a bit indifferent for Raheem Sterling at Chelsea of late. He's not been playing great. He's playing okay. He's influencing the games, but maybe not to the standard of his days at Manchester City. And then you got Harry Kane, who's scored a lot of goals recently for Spurs. I think it's 8 goals in 8 games, maybe 9 goals in 9 games. Not too sure, but the way England are set up, it's like they're not to get beat. It's quite negative in the play. They're too passive, making movements, quite slow coming from the back to the middle, to the front. And you look at the two in behind Harry Kane, whether it be Foden or Sterling like it was against Germany, they are more wide players, not number 10s, if you will. They're two more wide players, because Foden plays for Man City out in the wing, out in the left hand side. Sterling can play right across that front line, as he has done for Manchester City and now of Chelsea. Then you've got Harry Kane. Harry Kane, who is probably one of the best strikers in the world. But of late, I've noticed it for for Spurs and recently England. He's not staying further forward as a striker should do. Is that down to Southgate's telling him to drop into midfield, try and influence the play, to allow Foden and Sterling to kind of try and beat the lines? When you're a striker, you should be playing up top, not dropping into midfield, going out wide, when you're quite tall like Harry Kane is, and who's good with the ball at his feet, and if it gets knocked into him, you should be there to hold it up, play it off him, make movements off them, so that he can bring other players into play. It feels too disjointed from my point of view, and you've seen that against Germany in the first half, especially. There was no real kind of movement with the likes of Sterling and Foden and Harry Kane up front. Second half, when they brought on likes of Mason Mount and Jack Grealish, things started to change when they brought off Sterling and Foden. So, is it a mentality thing? Is it like I said? Is it personnel? Is it Gareth Southgate? We don't know. It could be a combination of all three. So, how does England change that? They change the formation. They change the personnel. Do they change the manager? A lot of England fans have asked for Gareth Southgate to be sacked or to leave his position as England manager. But why would you do that just before a World Cup? Now, if there's anything else you'd like me to cover on the podcast, or have a chat with regard about the formations, drop us a line on our Discord, or come into the chat on a Thursday night, 8 PM, on Twitch and on YouTube, and have a chat with us. Thanks for listening, and thank you very much for.
So that is Chris's tactical breakdown. And we
couldn't tell that Chris likes Chelsea or not.
Yes, I hope you like that, guys. It's a new segment that we're going to add in where we use FM to show real life tactics of managers in real life situations. That goes into our news next subject, which is the future of the England national team. So, Gormy, did you want to break down what the little video Chris just done for us, and then we can go into the debate?
Well, I mean, I agree with everything that Chris brought up, and how he broke it down was perfect. I think, Chris, you're the perfect man to break down what you just talked about. And if you think there is a different system that Southgate could implement to truly get the best out of the English national team.
Me personally, and as you can tell, I don't know if it gives away my Scottish accent or what, but the thing is, I like to see attacking football. I watched the game of Jono, the 3-each game against Germany, and I couldn't believe how slow the play was. You don't need three centre backs unless you're confident to play with your two wingers, so your two wing backs, whether it be James or Chilwell or Trent Alexander-Arnold or Luke Shaw or whoever it is, or Trippier if he is ever fully fit for England. But the midfield is the big issue for me. I think you drop one of your centre backs out, either be Maguire or Dyer, one of the two of them. Play another attacking midfielder in there, like a Maddison, like a Mount, or a Grealish, or someone who's going to break the lines, or play another striker up beside Harry Kane and allow him to play that number 10 role, and allow them to drop into midfield, play out wide, play Tammy Abraham up front, play Ivan Toney up front, play Callum Wilson up front, who's starting to find goals for Newcastle if again he can keep fit. But the thing that would irritate me from being an England fan is Southgate himself. He's too loyal to players.
Yeah.
Far too loyal to players. He needs to show a bit of backbone in bringing players like Tomori, like Tony, Saka, play him in his right position. I mean,
not as a left wing back against it.
Exactly. That's what let's just about to say. Boom. The way he ruined that boy by playing on left wing back. I mean, when in his puff has he ever played left wing back for Arsenal? Never.
No.
The thing is, see, I don't know about yourself, Jono, and I don't know about yourself, Gormy. Regarding about the English national team, do you think Southgate's the right man for that job going into the World Cup?
No, I don't. I think that if the U.S. are at their best ability, the U.S. can beat England. I think if Wales is at their best ability, Wales can beat England. Like with Gareth Southgate at the helm, England does not scare me because we've seen him choke a semifinal in Russia and a final at home.
Yeah,
the pressure gets to him. You need someone who can handle that.
His form has not been great in the last few games. Like they,
I agree. I agree, but I agree that he's probably not the right man. But I think just because what he had, I know it was probably an easy run, but because what he's done, and we've not got to even a semi-final before that in how long, and then to get to a final as well, I think he's earned a little bit extra time to try and turn it around. I agree his football is wrong. And the way
he needs to use the right people, though, to be given that time. Because he always says, I pick players based on form.
Yeah.
Really? Because Harry Maguire has been god-awful. Luke Shaw hasn't been anywhere near the first team. I mean, Fikayo Tomori should definitely be given a chance. I mean, yes, he did get a red card against Chelsea, but I mean, don't hold that over the kid's head because I guarantee you Southgate was at that game. So, I mean, Fikayo Tomori should definitely be playing alongside John Stones. I definitely think that should be happening.
The way I view Southgate, I view him kind of like a United with Ollie situation. Like he gets us to semi-finals and finals, and I just think he's got them as far as he could possibly take this team, and it needs someone else to fully take it further.
They need that upgrade.
On a potential upgrade, one thing I will mention now, we have had a potential manager come out in the last 24 hours and say he'd be interested in the job.
Suspiciously on the eve of this podcast.
Yeah, we all reckon he wanted to be mentioned on here.
Yeah.
And that is Mr. Tuchel himself, Champions League winner with Chelsea, league winner with PSG, but I could win the league with PSG. So, Thomas Tuchel.
Well, you wouldn't be in charge now, it would be Mbappe.
So Germany, a German manager as the English manager. What people think about that?
The U.S. had a German, and it was during our best time under Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yeah.
He did a very, very solid job with our team. I don't think it should matter necessarily where the manager is from. If they're going to do a quality job, if it is a quality manager and they're going to do a quality job, it should not matter. Yes, it's great winning something with a manager from your country. Say you win the World Cup with Sean Dyche at the helm. That would be awesome. Yeah. But, I mean, if you have to bring in Thomas Tuchel to get the best out of the team, do it.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no reason not to. I mean, it'll come back to, yes, we want it to all be – we want a Scottish manager managing Scotland, a U.S. manager managing the U.S., Irish managing Ireland, English managing England. But personally, the American managers have been god-awful. Holter has been horrible. Bradley, horrible.
The Irish ones,
everyone is so freaking bad. Let's bring half the frickin' MLS to Qatar where we're going to get smacked by Iran. Let's do that. That's a great idea.
I'll put it down to, like, it's kind of like the same thing with Ireland. Our most famous manager is the Englishman Jack Charlton, who got us the amazing thing of Italia 90 where we actually qualified and beat England. He made us beat
that's what I'm saying. That's an Englishman managing Ireland. So there's nothing wrong with someone not being from that nation managing them.
And it really annoys me when English fans say that as well. Oh, he's not English. We've just won our first competition with the women's team with a Netherlands manager a couple of months back.
Yeah.
With a Netherlands manager, won our first proper competition in how long?
Yeah, exactly. I suppose. Yeah. I mean, see, like I kind of said, and that kind of wee breakdown there, Tuchel's tactics at Chelsea would suit England right now at this moment if they play a 3 at the back. Because if he play with Chelsea with a 3, 2 wing backs, 2 kind of hold midfielders, and maybe 1 holding midfielder, and 2 attackers, and then you had your kind of 1 or 2 up front, with it being Havertz and at that time, what's his name? Jesus Christ! Havertz. It was just Havertz. That's right, just Havertz. Because
I was about to say Jesus is Brazilian.
Yeah, he's Brazilian. He's Brazilian.
He tried it with Rom and Timo with him at some points.
Yeah,
I didn't know his habits.
Here's another one. Here's another person who said they wouldn't mind doing the England job. Jose Mourinho.
That dude, that would be awesome, but also comedy gold.
Oh yeah.
All the time. It would be fantastic.
One thing is, England fans hate him now.
But
he's been chased out of this. I can't see him getting another job in England.
With Thomas Tuchel, think about it from the perspective of he's fresh out of that Chelsea job. Say things don't go right at the World Cup and Southgate is sacked. They bring in Tuchel. He already knows how certain players play. He basically knows how all the Premier League players play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he would know how to get the best out of them.
He knows Reece James. Like Reece, how's it going?
Yeah, Reece. Reece, Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham,
Chilwell as well.
England.
Yeah, Chilwell.
I'm going to mention 2 people here. The first one I will mention: have England missed the boat with Graham Potter?
Yes.
I personally don't think he is meant for international management. I think international management is the last thing that you do managerial-wise. I think that is like your last step. Like you manage club, and then like when you're done managing club, you're like, all right, yeah, let's dip my toe into international management.
There is rumors that the England do also want Eddie Howe at some point.
I think
Eddie Howe, I hope never leaves Newcastle unless they mutually part ways.
That was the other guy I was going to mention, and that is Eddie Howe. I think the book, as much as we talk about Tuchel, knowing the England FA, they will want an English manager.
Yeah.
So I think if Southgate is sacked tomorrow, they contact Newcastle straight away.
I personally don't think so. I think they go for Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche, I think, would be perfect to get the players on the same page and basically be like, look, you check those ego in at the door. We're all here to win for the country.
And also, I'd say Sean Dyche's press conference in international would be a thing of go.
Yes.
His press conference in the Premier League were just the most bizarre conversations.
If you've not seen the TikTok from last season, about a season ago of the podcast with Credo, make sure you check that out. England will play 4-4 bloody 2. Sean Dyche, make sure you check.
Mike Donaldson.
Yes,
So each and everyone, Jono, who do you think they go for if Southgate is sacked tomorrow?
I'd like to say Tuchel, but I say they contact Eddie Howe.
Gormy?
I'm with you on Sean Dyche.
I'd like Sean Dyche, but yeah, I think they contact Eddie Howe.
Sean Dyche, I just like the man. Comedy gold.
For me, it's not. I like Sean Dyche, so I'd like to see him there. I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
that he would be the one to get them all on the same page. Like we're not doing this for your personal accolades. We're doing this to bring the World Cup home type deal.
Yeah.
It's more than just about them.
Because
there's a lot of supporters of Premier League clubs that do not care about the English national team. If you had the players care about them separately, because there was always having Frank Lampard, Stevie G, all these players with massive rivalries in the Prem, they bring that with them to the national team. It's going to be there.
Yep.
They have to learn to separate that and their egos. You check all that at the door. You play for your nation when you are here.
I think that was more. You seen that less during the Euro run there, because you had everyone playing on singing from the same hymn sheet, because a lot of them came through the under 21s together, like Saka, like Mount, like Reece James, etc. You seen the camaraderie between every single one of them on that Euro on the road to the Euro final.
Yeah,
they fought together. They lost. They won together. They fought together, and then they lost together in the final.
I think that's part of it as well. I think that loss, even in like Premier League form, I don't think there's many players from that first 11 who played in that final against Italy who have had a great season since. I think that has mentally hurt a lot of those players.
Yeah.
To lose.
I think Bukayo Saka's rebounded quite well
I think
what
Saka
happened.
is the outstanding one.
You got to give credit to
the last season.
Arteta for that. Like, Saka probably came back at his lowest point. You got to give big credit to Arteta for picking him up from that lowest point.
Yeah,
and for him to score like the pen against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Bringing him that lowest point to scoring pens now after missing that.
Yeah,
that could have haunted him for the whole season.
That's an example of why Southgate. Like, I get that he's gotten you guys to a semifinal. I get that he's gotten you to a Euro final, but he has put players in such bad situations. Literally set up youngsters. They were not going to thrive in that situation. They barely touched the ball that game when they came on. He set them up.
Sancho and Rashford had no warm up and had to take 2 bets.
He set them up to fail, and it was not right. And I think personally, say England get knocked out in the quarters, he's gone.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because England, they're wasting talent. Because I have a whole list of the future.
They have a lot of attacking talent that they don't utilize.
Yeah, they have young attacking talent as well. And I mean, there's names that I've left off this list that
they're wasting they're wasting their golden generation, in my opinion.
But this isn't the only golden generation. They had the previous one. They have this one. They have one coming up as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you got players like. Well, let me just read some of these names off real quick. You got Emile Smith-Rowe, Anthony Gordon, Keane Lewis-Potter, Harvey Elliott, Nani Madueke, Curtis Jones, Conor Gallagher, James Garner looks good again, Tino Livramento and Jed Spence, Taylor Hardwood-Bellis, Tariq Lamptey, Jude Bellingham, he's young enough to be a part of that, Reece James, Mason Mount, Rice, Ramsdale, Sancho, Abraham, Saka, Rashford, Tomori. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of young players that are going to be a part of this next gold. Yeah, but they can, being that they're young enough for the players that are playing there, you can retrain them now. That starts at the national team level to where he's giving these kids chances, because he doesn't pick players based off form, because if he did, Harry Maguire would not be there.
And
Harry Maguire should be playing right bench. Like,
it needs a manager that can install a culture like that, which like John Dice could do. Install a culture like, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get on board, Lance.
Yeah, you might not do crazy good off the rip, but if you install a system, install a family-like system there with the youngsters and the first team, the growth you'll see will be insane with the national team. It's kind of what we have done with the U.S. national team, to where everyone kind of, trains together. I mean, we're nowhere near England level, but I mean, with what we used to have and what we now have, it's a world of difference. And we have kind of done that kind of family type system to where everyone works together. You play for the badge on the front, the name on the front, not on the back type thing. Because there are plenty of players in the English national team that play for that name on the back.
Yeah. And one thing I would say, with like the way modern football is gone, do you think Sean Dyche? It's not very often you see a 4-4-2 anymore. Do you think that could be adopted quite quickly into the English game and work in international football?
If that's how he chooses to play, because like I said earlier, it could have been something he was kind of forced into doing at Burnley with what he had available to him.
Yeah.
Because you go into a national team setup where he gets to pick and choose who he wants to play, what type of system he wants to implement. He could play a 4-2-3-1 for all we know. He could play a 5 in the back, 3 in the back. He could play the 4-4-2. He could do anything. Yeah, he will have talent that he was never able to have. So, I mean, you don't know what he would do unless he would be at the helm. That's definitely something, like, if it ever comes down to Southgate being sacked, I think Sean Dyche is someone that they do get in contact with. And that is probably something that they would talk about. Like, what would you want to implement tactically with the national team? And he would probably say, look, I know everyone knows that I played a 4-4-2 at Burnley, but that is what I had to do with the talent he had. Because he didn't have the money to go out and get whoever he wanted.
Yeah.
It's not like he could completely revamp his system overnight. Like, he was kind of stuck in that.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that.
So
I agree with you, Gorman. That see the thing is, like with England, they are wasting away a lot of good talent. Mm-hmm. But I think, as well with Southgate, going back to the kind of Southgate, kind of the team side of things, I don't think he likes playing players that don't play in the English Premier League or English Championship.
Bingo. The only one that he does is Jude.
Yep. Because he has to, because of how good he actually is.
No, but I also don't think he likes to use him. I think because of like some of the English, like Calvin Phillips and all them being out, he's been forced to actually play Jude Bellingham, that he doesn't actually want to play him.
Because the player that was mentioned twice, or maybe 3 or 4 times, Fikayo Tomori.
There's no reason to leave him out. The dude is unreal.
And there's another one. There's another one we missed out. Chris Smalling.
Mm-hmm.
Who has,
even though Chris is older, he's still really freaking good.
He's turned his career around.
He deserves a chance in the squad.
Yeah, because so if you're calling up Harry Maguire, who's barely kicking the ball for United, you're losing out on two guys playing at a very good level under one of the best managers in the world, Mourinho.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing out on him and Tammy Abraham, and then you're losing out on Fikayo Tomori, who's under the tutelage of probably the greatest ever Italian defender, and Paolo Maldini at that club.
Like, there's no reason not to give them chances.
Yeah.
It's like so how I feel that Greg Berhalter does with the U.S. is he's a U.S. manager. He's always here at home. So what's he watch all the time in person? The MLS. What is literally like all of our U.S. national team, majority of it, including the bench, MLS. Southgate lives in England. What is the entire national team besides Jude Bellingham from? The Premier League.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. I mean, it's the same. I'll bring up my hometown team, the St. Louis Blues in hockey. Our GM is Canadian. We won the Stanley Cup with 18 Canadians out of 21 players. It's insane. Yeah. So, like, people, when they're used to something, it probably wasn't like out of 21 players, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
But when people are used to something, they're going to repeatedly go back to it, even if it is not the right thing to do and will hold them back.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset thing. I mean, Scotland done it for a long time. From my point of view, they had a lot of players who played in the SPFL. I mean, the SPFL is not the greatest leagues, and I'll hold my hands up. I am a big advocate of it. But see now that the game against Ukraine the last game I had against Republic of Ireland, only 2 of our players played in the Scottish Premier League. Every other one of them played either in the Championship of England or the Premier League in England.
Mm-hmm.
That was never heard of maybe 10, 15 years ago. We had maybe one or two, but now the majority of our Scotland squad are playing either Champions League football for a big club in England or a reasonably sized club in England, either being the Championship or Premier League. That was never heard of because we got a mindset that we've got our players that we can rely on. We know the players that we can call upon. So do England, but they choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. They choose not to, and it's a shame because England have got such a depth. It's scary how much they've got depth-wise, and Gorman, you just kind of you didn't scrape the bottom of the top of the iceberg with the depth that they've got.
Yeah.
Because they have youngsters that can play.
Yeah,
like they have whether it be up top, like someone like Liam Delap, give him a chance. Like if you're not wanting to play Tammy Abraham because he's playing over in the Serie A, Liam Delap is a Manchester City product. Play him up top and see what he can do with Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Like there are, even if you're not wanting to give opportunities to the kids that are playing abroad, give it to the ones that are at least at home, because he is playing these same people over and over again, and it's not working. Yeah, you got to the final in the Euros, but is the Euros as hard as the World Cup? No, because you have to play against likes of Brazil and Argentina there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the Euros are still insanely hard. That is the hardest international tournament after the World Cup. But getting to the final in that is like getting to a semifinal in the World Cup, in my opinion. So basically you could say, all right, he's been to 2 semifinals, World Cup wise, choked both.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this time around, third time's the charm. Hopefully he gets to the final of the World Cup and makes something happen. But if he does what I think will happen and get to the quarters, he's gone. No matter, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. People are seeing that it is broken and it's not being fixed.
Even in that run, and nothing against both of the players, they played really well in Declan Rice and Phillips. But why play two holding midfielders like that?
Yeah.
Why? But why not?
That is prevent offense.
Yeah.
He's playing prevent defense, which prevents offense. So
I mean, it's
exactly the same as Ollie playing Scott McTominay and Fred last season.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said in the video there. It's a team they are not to get beat. That is exactly what Southgate's doing.
Yeah, he's going in to not lose. But what I look at it like, against lower down teams, you don't need to play like that. I can understand playing like that if you're against like France.
Yeah. I mean, see the Euro final against Italy. They could have won that if they actually went for it and not played.
But they did.
The two holder midfielders playing all striker up front.
Chris is right. They could have easily with the fans behind them.
Yep.
If you went for it, you could have easily won that. Yeah,
and already going 1-0 up in the beginning.
But what did they do after they went 1-0 up? All right, we're going to defend, boys. We're going to defend.
They done the Italian way. They go 1-0 up, sit back and defend for your lives, guys. But that Italian team, don't get me wrong, that Italian team played out their skins.
Yeah.
But see another thing as well. See, we're talking about players that didn't get a game. Sancho was exactly the same when he was at Dortmund. Didn't get a shout.
Yeah.
Did not get a shout.
I think Sancho played plenty at Dortmund. Sancho was
no. For England.
Oh, for England. Okay.
For England.
Yeah.
When he was bang on form for Dortmund, never got a sniff for England because he played.
Which is ridiculous. But as soon as he goes to Man United, he's in my team.
Yep.
That's like not how you win.
He's stuck in he's stuck in his own ways that he must have only English-based players.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work. It's not a winning formula.
Nah.
Like, look at France when they won the World Cup. Their players were everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
They had players playing at home. They had players playing in Germany, Spain, Italy, England. They were everywhere. That's how you win. You utilize everything available to you. And the future of the English national team will be bright if they do that. But if they stick with what Southgate is doing, it's going to be dark and grim.
Yeah. So, let's get an end point here. So, Chris, where do England finish in the World Cup? And then who is the manager come December?
Oh, you're asking a Scotsman first. Dad do head over heart. Nah, unbiased. I think I agree with Gormy. Quarterfinals, and then I think quarterfinals. Get to the quarterfinals. They'll get beat in the quarterfinals on penalties like they normally do, probably against Germany. And I'll say it'll be Sean Dyche taking England going forward.
Cool. Same question to you, Boom.
Well, risky going straight to the Irish person now for the Scottish one. I'll say you'll do good to get to the quarterfinals. I just think there's so many other teams in this World Cup that are just so much better than England at this moment.
FM Hub in chat, not Tuchel. Yeah, we spoke about Tuchel. It would be good, but we think they'd go for an England manager just because that's what the FA are like.
I'll be impressed if they go for Tuchel, but I don't see it happening.
I think they go quarterfinals if the FA want an English manager, it's Sean Dyche. If not, then I do think that Thomas Tuchel is the guy because he is so familiar with everyone in that team that at least plays.
Yeah.
But if he is able to have a national team pool at his disposal, then you can probably see a lot of other players playing because he knows quality when he sees it. That's one thing that I don't think Southgate sees because he would rather have Harry Maguire over Fikayo Tomori.
Yes,
I've got a long shot. Klopp is sacked by Liverpool.
Shut up,
England manager.
No stop talking. Stop talking.
There's more chance of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer becoming England manager than Jurgen Klopp.
Listen, it's okay, FM Hub. As an Irishman, I'm proud that you're in the pub.
Yes, so okay. My FM Hub.
You enjoy the pub.
Same question to you, Gormy.
Yeah, quarters, I think. And like I said, Sean Dyche as manager if they want an English manager. If not, I do think that Thomas Tuchel gets an opportunity.
1-0 to Manchester United, by the way.
Oh man,
they finally scored. We were getting 20
minutes.
No, McTominay just scored.
On a team from Cyprus.
No, I will.
Jono.
Gourmet, I will say we were getting completely FM'd. Their keeper was having a masterclass. It was real life FM'd this entire time.
Scott McTominay just scored.
Nice, come on.
But yeah, I think quarters. I mean, I think if they get to the semis, he'll stay on.
Right, who did you think they'll get put out off of?
In the World Cup?
Yeah.
I honestly think it'll be a South American team.
Argentina, something like usual.
Probably. I mean, if they come up against Germany, or if they come up against somehow France, Spain, I think that Argentina, Brazil, France, Spain, Germany, all of them are better than England.
By the way, Anderlecht got a goal, so it's 2-1 in that game.
I think that all of them are better than England. England would have to really go for it off the rip, get up by 2 goals, and then sit back to beat any of those 5.
Cool. And I think I'm going quarters as well. I'm going to say Tuchel, which become the New England manager, and to be knocked out by France. I'm going to go. Yes.
Paul Pogba with the game-winning goal.
He's out of the World Cup, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
Sad.
So,
that would be so funny.
Yeah. Graham Souness is happy.
I hope you guys liked the new podcast with the new team. We will be back, not at our normal time next week because of commitments. We will be back Wednesday night. And yes, so you can join us next Wednesday. Make sure you check us out. Gormy, where can we find you?
It is at Gormy or at @YGormy on all socials. You can also check me out on YouTube. I do Football Manager content for my personal channel with @YGormy or it's Gormy. It's one of the two. I'm trying to get Gormy as my name on there. But I also do stuff for FM Base, so you can check me out on there as well.
Chris, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch, just at ChrisWatt89. And you can find me on Twitter as well, at Chris_Watts89 as well on Twitter.
And Crazy Boom, where can we find you?
You can find me at Crazy Boom __ on both Twitter and Twitch. And you can find me as Boompool on YouTube.
Yep. Make sure you check them out. And you can find me at RTL Football Podcast, jono.tv on Twitter as well. Just hit over 1K. And you can, I'm sure you've seen the announcement from Road to Legends today. I'm taking a slight step back to concentrate on the podcast. Billions is going to run Road to Legends. I'll be overseeing the RTL brand for the pod and the draft, but Billions is going to take charge of that. So make sure you check out Road to Legends FM as well. It's exciting stuff for the future. And we will see you next week.
The RTL Football Podcast, now live on Twitch and on YouTube at 8 p.m. UK time on Thursdays.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.